Sure, I can help him. That is why I won't do 2 shows a night anymore, babe. I won't do.
Beetlejuice isn't just a movie, it's chaos packaged as art. Eccentric ghosts, lost spectral couples, and a cunning demon turn death into an unforgettable joke. But behind the makeup and laughter are unbelievable secrets. From the main character almost being replaced, iconic scenes being cut, and a film scene touching Tim Burton's girlfriend's feet. Here are 25 weird facts about Beetlejuice you never knew. Call Beetlejuice 3 times and start exploring this chaotic journey right now. You might be surprised to learn that Beetlejuice didn't start as a comedy, but as a real nightmare. The original script described Beetlejuice as a winged reptilian demon, hunting the living, stalking Lydia, and trying to kill the Maitlands. Tim Burton, though he loved the core idea, hated this dark tone. He asked the screenwriters to transform it into an absurd, humorous, and dangerous film, where the monster even had funny lines. Thanks to this bold change, the film gained its unique and eccentric tone we know today. While it's hard to imagine another Beetlejuice now, Michael Keaton was not the studio's initial choice for the role. The studio wanted a big, bankable name and even suggested names like Sammy Davis Jr. However, Tim Burton saw in Keaton a mad energy, excellent timing, and unpredictability, believing he was chaos in a can. When Keaton agreed, he built the character from A to Z himself, including his distinctive raspy voice, horrifying yet humorous appearance, moldy suit, and uncontrollable explosive energy.
Not so fast, brown boy. We're gonna have some laughs.
One of the elements that makes Beetlejuice iconic is his unique makeup and character design. What's incredible is that the makeup took up to 3.5 hours to apply and was never rehearsed or screen tested before filming. Michael Keaton and makeup artist V. Neal together came up with the idea for the character's moldy look, creating the feeling that he had expired long ago. Keaton also designed the character's appearance himself, asking the makeup team to create a moldy effect on his face, wild, electrocuted hair, and requesting the costume to be a mix of clothes from various eras. This creativity and daring led to the unique black and white striped suit, which was developed close to the filming date and became an icon of the film.
It's showtime.
Tim Burton faced many disputes with Warner Brothers executives throughout the production, and the film's title was no exception. The studio didn't like the title Beetlejuice and instead wanted to name the film House Ghosts, believing that title tested better with audiences. At a tense meeting, Burton jokingly suggested they change the title to Scared Sheetless. However, when the studio seriously considered the idea, Burton flatly declared that he would jump out the window if they chose it. Ultimately, the director stood his ground and kept the iconic name Beetlejuice. Perhaps we all agree it was absolutely the right decision, couldn't be better. If it were you, which name would you choose as most suitable for the film? Comment your favorite name below, and if you have other ideas, feel free to share them. One thing you might not realize is that even though the film is named after its main character, Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice only appears for about 17 minutes on screen. However, somehow Beetlejuice has become a pop culture icon, the center of every poster, every advertisement, every Halloween costume for decades. Michael Keaton didn't just play the role, he made it explode with a volcanic performance. He glides through scenes with an almost inhuman speed and intensity. A raspy voice, rotten teeth, a cheap suit, and uncontrolled energy. He felt out of place in this movie, which paradoxically made him perfect and unique for it. He's part ghost story, part cartoon, and he's the cracked glue that magically holds it all together. Only 17 minutes. That's all it took for Michael Keaton to become unforgettable. Today, it's hard to imagine anyone other than Catherine O'Hara as Delia Dietz, Lydia's eccentric stepmother. However, Tim Burton originally cast Angelica Houston as Delia, a character who would likely have leaned much darker, more mysterious, and more frightening. However, due to a family illness, Houston had to withdraw from the project just days before filming, and Burton quickly pivoted, rewriting the role around Catherine O'Hara. She flew to Los Angeles but got severely lost looking for Burton's office and never made it to the audition. Luckily, the studio still saw potential and gave her the role. O'Hara was not only perfect in her role, but she also met her future husband, production designer Bo Welch, right on set. As for Angelica Houston, she had the chance to shine 3 years later in the Addams Family film adaptation as the iconic Morticia. Everyone knows you have to say Beetlejuice's name 3 times to summon or banish him.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
But that's not the only time the number 3 is remarkably used in the film. Observant viewers might have noticed that Barbara says home 3 times to get herself and Adam out of the model town. On top of that, the couple has to knock on their self-drawn door 3 times to enter the Netherworld, and they have exactly 3 work sessions with their caseworker, Juno. Their house even has 3 floors, and after the Dietz family moves in, the Maitlands spend almost all their time on the 3rd floor. For some reason, perhaps only Tim Burton knows, the number 3 seems to have a special and pervasive significance in this strange universe. You have to pay really close attention to spot this hidden detail. When Barbara and Adam first enter the Netherworld, a female voice can be heard announcing over the PA system, Flight 409 arriving. The Flight 409 the woman refers to is a reference to a real United Airlines flight that tragically crashed in Wyoming in 1955, killing 66 people. What's notable is that the film Beetlejuice is set in the 80s. So why are victims from 1955 only now arriving in the afterlife? The answer lies in the concept that time in this world is very wibbly-wobbly. It passes differently depending on where you are, meaning people from various eras can arrive in the netherworld at the same time. One of Beetlejuice's most memorable lines, "Nice fucking model,"
Nice fucking model!
was completely improvised. It wasn't planned in the shooting script at all. Since the tree wasn't supposed to fall in that scene to maintain humor and surprise, Michael Keaton spoke with the set designer to create this unexpected interaction. Tim Burton, again, found it hilarious and decided to keep it in the film, adding a unique touch to the Beetlejuice character. You might think that having Lydia wear red in the wedding scene was just part of Tim Burton's unique and eccentric aesthetic. But many fans believe it's actually a deep reference to a Victorian-era poem. This verse was meant to help young brides choose the color of their wedding dress and carried an allegorical meaning about fate. The poem begins, "Marry in white, you have chosen right. Marry in gray, you will go far away." However, a specific line of the poem states, "Marry in red, you'll wish you were dead." This links directly to Lydia's character, as she is drawn to death and even mentions wanting to die, especially after she gets to know the Maitlands and feels connected to the afterlife. She feels, "I am utterly alone," which further strengthens her connection to the other side. The color of the dress might be a coincidence, but knowing how much thought Tim Burton puts into the visual language of his films, we bet it's a subtle and intentional placement. If you only remember one scene from Beetlejuice, it's probably the famous dinner party scene with the song Day-O. Surprisingly, this classic scene almost didn't make it into the final cut of the film. Burton initially didn't think the scene was funny enough and wanted to cut it, but fortunately, test audiences loved it and demanded it be kept. This scene also almost had a very different soundtrack. The original plan was to use the 1939 song If I Didn't Care, but it was Catherine O'Hara who came up with the brilliant idea to use calypso music instead. Harry Belafonte's Day-O was the perfect choice, bringing the crazy energy the scene needed. It gave Harry Belafonte a late career boost and was even played at actor Glenn Shadix's funeral. During the shooting of the ending, the crew operating the shrimp puppets kept sliding them off the actresses' faces, making the shot chaotic. Director Dick Cavett came up with the idea to film it in reverse, creating a smoother motion effect. Thanks to these fortunate circumstances and creativity, this iconic shot was preserved and became one of the film's most memorable moments. For many years, a Beetlejuice sequel only existed as rumors with quirky titles like Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. However, the film Beetlejuice was released in 2024, directed by Tim Burton and featuring familiar cast members like Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Jenna Ortega. This came after decades of development and multiple reboots, finally bringing the sequel to eager fans. Do these revelations change how you see Beetlejuice? Can a crazy comedy hide a deep message? Think about it, because the drama is still ahead. Many horror fans can't help but notice the striking resemblance between the character Beetlejuice and Chop Top from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Since that horror film was released in 1986 and Beetlejuice was filmed in 1987, it's not surprising to think that Keaton based his performance, at least in part, on Bill Moseley's cannibalistic role. Many sources have speculated this to be true, although Keaton has never publicly confirmed it. Fortunately, Beetlejuice doesn't actually kill anyone in his film, so in that regard, he's somewhat less malicious than the brutal Chop Top. One of the things that made the Beetlejuice character explode was Michael Keaton's complete improvisation. No one, not even director Tim Burton, knew what Michael Keaton would do when he embodied Beetlejuice in each shot. Keaton brought absolute chaos to the set, with wild gestures and sloppy energy all improvised by him, not following a script. Burton allowed Keaton to extend scenes, break rules, and push everything to the point where the crew couldn't stop laughing, demonstrating absolute trust in the actor's ability. This itself helped rewrite the film's tone with his crazy and unique improvisations. Although it looked perfectly staged and flowed smoothly, the Day-O dinner party scene almost fell apart because no one in the cast could stop laughing. The actors were caught off guard by what was happening, like the sudden appearance of ghostly shrimp hands and the abrupt possession of their bodies by spirits. Catherine O'Hara couldn't stop laughing. Jeffrey Jones could barely get through the scene, and that's part of why it worked. There was chaos beneath the polished surface, a genuine feeling of people trying to stay in character while something utterly insane was unfolding. It wasn't just funny, it was haunted. Originally, the film's ending was intended to be much darker, true to the script's initial horror tone. Beetlejuice was trapped alone in the model, surrounded by scary sandworms, implying an unfortunate demise. However, test audiences surprisingly liked Beetlejuice and didn't want him to be destroyed. Therefore, Burton rewrote the ending to a chaotic scene in the afterlife waiting room, where Beetlejuice receives a shrunken head but remains cunning and smiling, showing he's still alive and kicking. One of Tim Burton's most creative decisions was to choose Harry Belafonte's Calypso music for the soundtrack, a highly atypical choice for a ghost film. He wanted Beetlejuice to feel absurd, playful, and jarring, like Death with a Smile rather than a typical horror movie. This unique choice changed the entire mood of the film, making it unforgettable and creating its distinct mark. Burton wanted the special effects in the film to look handmade and weird, not polished, perfect CGI. To studio executives, the giant sandworms, shrunken heads, and cardboard town model looked cheap and outdated. However, Burton found them perfect, wanting the film to look like a classic monster movie combined with Saturday morning cartoons, bringing a sense of nostalgia and uniqueness. It was this weirdness and originality that made the film iconic and gave it Burton's distinctive, unmistakable style. Instead of a scary or mystical afterlife, the afterlife in Beetlejuice looks nothing like that. Instead, it resembles a busy and disorganized department of motor vehicles, DMV, with glaring fluorescent lights, endless lines of waiting people, and the vacant stares of weary souls. Burton wanted death to feel absurd and bureaucratic, where even ghosts had to take a number and wait forever in a cumbersome administrative system. Despite being one of the most expensive sets created for the film, a scene featuring a gear dimension was cut from the final version of the movie. In an early cut, there was a scene where Beetlejuice pulls Adam and Barbara into a giant, complex, twisting mechanical world. However, this scene was cut because test audiences found it confusing, and it broke the film's humorous, absurd tone, even though it was a significant investment. Many actresses were considered for the role of Lydia Dietz before Winona Ryder, including Juliette Lewis, Sarah Jessica Parker, Justine Bateman, and even Alyssa Milano. But when Winona Ryder appeared with her Doc Martens, distinctive black eyeliner, and quiet, ghostly gaze, she not only fit physically but also truly understood the role. She carried a darkness that never felt heavy, a gentle and captivating gloom. This made Burton believe she was the perfect choice for this iconic role, turning Lydia into one of the film's most beloved characters. To create the fantastical world of Beetlejuice, the film used a combination of 35mm film photography with stop-motion animation for the ghostly scenes. These were classic techniques, not modern CGI, providing a bizarre, humorous, and natural style that perfectly suited the film's spirit. Scenes like the sandworms, the scary yet funny demonic face swap, or the moving ghost statues are all testaments to the wonderful creativity achieved with practical effects, creating a distinct mark. Due to his rude, noisy, and scary yet strangely beloved by children personality, Beetlejuice had an animated version in 1989. In this version, Beetlejuice is depicted as mischievous rather than monstrous and collaborates with Lydia, creating new adventures. The show ran for 4 seasons and won a prestigious Daytime Emmy Award, affirming the character's timeless appeal to young audiences. Surprisingly, no one expected Beetlejuice to be a big success. It wasn't a franchise or a safe bet with a weird name, a wild tone, and a main character who was a chaotic demon. However, upon its release in 1988, it was a resounding success, earning over $70 million on a $15 million budget, landing in the top 10 highest-grossing films of the year. The film also brilliantly launched Tim Burton's career and completely changed Michael Keaton's career, proving that uniqueness and daring to be different can lead to great and lasting success. Beetlejuice won an Academy Award for Best Makeup, receiving significant recognition for its unique makeup and stop-motion effects. However, Michael Keaton, despite his electric and explosive performance, did not receive an Oscar nomination. This oversight is unfortunate considering he built and breathed life into the character himself, turning Beetlejuice into an icon. He later admitted that this made him sting a little, indicating his dedication to the role was not fully recognized at the biggest award. From a dark script to a classic comedy, from an improvised role to unique visual effects, Beetlejuice is truly a work full of surprises and breakthroughs. Despite not being highly anticipated, the film achieved resounding success, shaped the styles of Tim Burton and Michael Keaton, and left an indelible mark on popular culture. We hope you've discovered weird and utterly unexpected things about Beetlejuice through this video. If you love film facts like these, don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the Weird Film Facts channel so you don't miss out on other fascinating behind-the-scenes stories. See you in the next video.